окупанти до нас в Україну. Форма новенька, воєнні машини, та трохи поплавився їх інвентар. Байрактар. Байрактар. Російські танкісти сховались в кущі, щоб лаптем посьорбати довбані щі, та трохи у чах перегрівся навар. Байрактар. Байрактар. Приперли зі сходу до нас барани для восстановлення
великої страни.
Найкращий пастух баранячих отар. Байрактар. Байрактар. Їх доводи всяке озброєння різне, потужні ракети, машини залізні, у нас на всі доводи є коментар. Байрактар. Байрактар. Чаїли на орків образу з російських бандитів, робить примар. Байрактар. Байрактар. Російська поліція справи заводить, там пивцю рашистів ніяк не знаходить, хто винен, що в нашому полі глухар. Байрактар. Байрактар. Веде пропаганду кремлівський урод, слова пропаганди ковтає народ, тепер нове слово знає цар.
Байрактар. Байрактар. Байрактар.
Байрактар.
Байрактар.
Yes.
The Leaf Spring Army sends its regards.
Hello, everyone. I'm the Enforcer, and I'm accompanied by Enforcer Matt.
And good evening, folks. It's Enforcer Matt, and welcome back to day 869 the news. And it's good to see you all once again. And also, we're hearing of a major Russian spy plot exposed, and Russia is in some deep trouble. And it's good to see you all once again.
And of course, we're going to be covering the past 24 hours of the news of the war in Ukraine and the developments that have been going on around the world, as we have gotten breaking news from every single level. The major breaking news that we have gotten today is that a Russian spy plot was exposed in the area of Germany, as we have now been able to find out that NATO forces and German authorities have been able to uncover a plot that was meant to assassinate the CEO of the company Rheinmetall, a major defense manufacturer, and also further plans to conduct acts of sabotage against Western war industry inside of the area of NATO. As a direct response to this, we have been able to hear that the United States of America and other NATO forces are moving hypersonic missiles into the territory of Poland, have set up new missile air defense stations throughout the area of the Polish border, and at the exact same time, we've also been able to hear that this has spurned a brand new project by multiple countries in Europe to produce a brand new missile that has a range of 500 kilometers, pretty much triggering a massive NATO response, as from what we can tell today. At the exact same time, we also got to hear from the United States of America that President Zelensky is saying that Viktor Orban is not in a position to broker a peace for Ukraine, pretty much killing the idea that Orban may have had a little while ago. At the exact same time, we got breaking news today that the United States military-industrial complex, as some people like to call it, is making its way to Ukraine. It is going on tour, as Northrop Grumman has declared that they will open up a weapons manufacturing inside of Ukraine itself, manufacturing the weapons in-house and selling them directly to the Ukrainians from the factory. We also got major frontline news as well today, once again showing that Russian forces were taking incredibly high losses and that the front was holding incredibly well and appearing to continue to evolve in Ukraine's favor. We have loads of news to cover today, an absolutely large amount. And of course, we have to start off with the breaking news of the day, which was the plan to assassinate the Rheinmetall CEO. This is one of the most shocking developments that we've heard about in recent times dealing with the Russian Federation and possible escalations that could be caused due to covert actions happening inside of the NATO alliance itself. According to information that we were able to find, we were able to hear the U.S. intelligence discovered earlier this year that the Russian government planned to assassinate the CEO Popperger, and that had been producing artillery shells and military vehicles for Ukraine. This was also according to CNN and was corroborated by many mainstream news sources, as our stream appears to have flatlined according to YouTube, but now it is okay. So going off of that,
I think we're back.
I think we are back. But nevertheless, this is a major development on every single level inside of the Western world, as Rheinmetall is one of the largest manufacturers of weapon systems here in the West. And really quickly, let me get y'all to the Rheinmetall website so that way y'all can know, what does Rheinmetall actually do? Because a lot of people like me would know what Krauss-Maffei-Wegmann does, what Northrop Grumman and Lockheed Martin does, but some people may not know what Rheinmetall does. They have actually had 7.2 billion euros in sales. They have 30,000 employees spread across 167 sites, and they have a 918 million euro operating result. Very impressive stuff for future investors if you're ever considering possibly investing in Rheinmetall. Not only that, but let me show y'all some of the nice little systems that they've been able to make. And so, let's go to mobility. And let's go, let's see here, to infrastructure. Why not? Let's go look at infrastructure. You know what, Matthew? I'm not really sure if this is the armed forces segment of Rheinmetall. Let me go see. Let's see. So here's some stuff.
There it is.
Here's
some air defense.
Here's some air defense, which they have a very interesting website, man. It's actually hard to kind of maneuver around this thing. But let's take a look at some of their air defense systems that Rheinmetall has been making recently. And so, they really don't do what other websites do, which allows us to easily see their weapon systems. Here's a Sky Shield. Many of y'all have seen this in the past. It's a pretty interesting system. I'm not going to go into a full explanation of it here, but nevertheless, I think y'all are getting a bit of an idea, although it's really hard for me to move around this website. I thought it'd be a lot easier, like Krauss-Maffei-Wegmann, which ends up producing most of the Leopard 2s. Their website is really easy to move around and show off the products that they manufacture. This is not necessarily that easy to do, and I'm trying to make sure that we can move around around quickly and easily, but it is just not that easy. I'm not going to lie. So let me see here. Yeah, you know what? I think we're just going to quickly show off maybe a few more things. Let's see here. What do they have here? Not really much. I'm not going to lie. We can't really see a lot of what they do from this website. So nevertheless, you're just going to have to trust me, bro, on this one. I wish I could have shown you all some of the cool stuff that they make. Sadly, it's not going to be that easy to show unless if I start doing really in-depth Google searches, which will take up a lot of time. Rheinmetall is a major arms manufacturer, and the fact that the Russian Federation was attempting to assassinate the CEO and possibly sabotage further industrial efforts here in the West, it is once again showing that they are getting to a level of desperation that is starting to show that they would be willing to try and conduct direct covert actions against the West to try and knock out further Ukraine war support. This is a big ordeal, as we do not know how far this is spreading. And according to another statement that was made today by the NATO General Secretary Stoltenberg, it appears that there is more going on than meets the eye, even more than this major plot that was uncovered today, where we heard that apparently they were planning on assassinating the Rheinmetall CEO. Listen to this statement by NATO General Secretary Stoltenberg, and notice how it's worded, and we'll break it down here in a second.
To answer the first question, by saying that I will not go into that specific report, what I can say is that we have seen a pattern, a Russian campaign organized by the security services to conduct hostile actions against NATO allies across the alliance, with sabotage attempts, with cyber attacks, with arson, with different types of hostile actions against NATO allies. And these are not standalone incidents. These are part of a pattern, part of an ongoing Russian campaign. And the purpose of this campaign is, of course, to intimidate NATO allies from supporting Ukraine.
That is a very interesting way that that was worded. And what we can get out of this statement is that we're actually now understanding, according to NATO General Secretary Stoltenberg, that this wasn't a one-off attempt to assassinate the CEO of Rheinmetall. There is an active and concerted effort being made by the Federal Security Bureau, or the FSB of the Russian Federation, to conduct attacks throughout the entirety of NATO against war industry and anyone involved in the operation of companies that produce war materials, either for NATO itself or for transportation and purchase by Ukraine. This is something that is incredibly major and has been causing a lot of stir around the world, as it is showing that really we have enemies from within, inside of the NATO alliance, that are posing more of a threat to NATO than the Russians are physically on an external and obvious level. This is starting to beg the question of, is this moving on into the area of Russia conducting direct actions against the West that possibly would lead to further and major escalation of multiple different kinds? And a lot of people are saying that this is largely an act of war, what we're starting to hear now. And a lot of people think that direct action should be taken against the Russian Federation for these direct yet covert actions that are happening inside of the NATO alliance. Some others are saying that possibly, but it won't lead to war, meaning that they see that it is certainly a warlike action and would possibly lead to a path on war, but nevertheless, the powers that be will ensure that there is never a war that comes out of that. Some people are saying that this is just normal black ops, and others are saying that they're a little bit unsure and undecided. But a lot of people have been throwing in their opinions on this, and it's been one of the largest and most concerning developments that we have heard over the past year, really ever since the beginning of this year, that pertains to the Ukraine war. But Matthew, what are people thinking, and what are you thinking about this? Do you think that this is possibly an act of war, or do you think that nothing's really going to come out of this?
So it looks like 59% of the audience said yes, it is an act of war, while 25% said possibly, but it really won't lead to a war, and 13% said no, it's simply normal black ops. And in my opinion, this sounds to me like normal black ops behind the scene. Obviously, it's not good, but I really don't think it's anything out of the norm or really an act of war necessarily. It's getting right on the border of it, but not quite there. So I'm with the 13%. I think it's pretty normal, although that doesn't mean it's good. but it does happen in the background quite a bit. We're simply hearing about this one out in the public. But Enforcer, what say you?
I would have to say that in my personal opinion, this is not that normal, especially pre-war. We didn't really see a lot of sabotage happening or a lot of incidents for that matter happening at any major industrial facilities pertaining to the production of war equipment here in the West. So this is something that is incredibly new to me and very concerning. Not only that, the amount of frequency in which this is happening, if we were to assume that all incidents, fires, and any sort of action that has knocked out a war industry factory here in the West was to be related to Russian sabotage, it is occurring at a much faster rate now than it ever has been in the past. In fact, I would say that it's occurring at all now compared to in the past, when we heard that there wasn't really that much of this happening at all at any given point. I would say that this is wildly concerning, as it is starting to show that the Russian Federation is taking direct actions of a sort. And let's see. Also, Matthew, what's weird is that I'm actually feeling the same right now. But nevertheless, Matthew, Matthew, we're incredibly close to those Chinese, Matthew, in Havana.
Man, I'm telling you what. I'll tell you all this. I texted Andrew. I said, I'm feeling a little bit nauseous over here. I actually had a Chipotle burrito tonight, and I think that thing is turning on me big league. And right now I'm suffering over here. So hopefully it passes over, but I'm having some doubts at this point.
Man, right now, I have a really bad headache again. I don't know what's up with this, y'all, because they're starting now whenever I start a stream. Like, it does not happen at any other part of the day, and I'm sweating profusely. I don't know if it's hot down here. Someone's probably messed with the air conditioner, and I'm burning alive right now because I got my fan going on max, and I'm sweating like a pig, pretty much. That's the way I say it. That's at least my line of saying. So Matthew and me are doing in rough shape right now, so hopefully things will improve as the stream goes on. But Matthew, what are you thinking? Well, actually, sorry, I was actually on my part of what I was thinking. I got distracted by that and then made a comment on it immediately. But I would say that this is possibly an act of war. It probably will not lead to it because so far, based off of the actions that the collective West has taken in response to any kind of alleged Russian aggression or actual acts of Russian aggression, has been to back off and pretty much cower away for really no good reason. So I would expect that we're probably not going to be doing anything in response to this because that's simply the way things are going right now. Whether people like that or not, that's really how it is. If I was in charge, it'd be a little bit different. We wouldn't be going to war, but there would be a major standoff about what's going on right now inside of NATO. But I'm not in charge, and that is something that I just can't really delve into that much. But still, with that, I hope that does address that fairly well, at least in my opinion. And with that, we have been able to see that the NATO response has been pretty much swift and immediate, either in response to this or in response to rising Russian aggression overall over the past few weeks and months. We've been able to hear that inside of Warsaw, the plans have been made amongst many other European countries, including France, Germany, Italy, and Poland, to develop a new kind of a missile that will have a range of over 500 kilometers. These are what would be considered intermediate range missiles, and will be trying to fill the gap in European arsenals that was discovered during the Ukrainian conflict, as the NATO forces in Europe usually have missiles that are of a shorter range, like the Storm Shadow, which has a range of about 250 miles, or they are incredibly long-range missiles with a range much farther. There needs to be a missile that fills the middle ground, and they are currently trying to develop one of those missiles at this very moment. But nevertheless, very interesting to hear, and we also got to hear that a new NATO missile defense base has also been constructed and is currently operating inside of Poland. According to Reuters, citing the Secretary General's statement, the base, called Aegis Ashore, allows intercepting short and medium-range ballistic missiles. At the same time, it's a part of NATO's larger missile defense shield. And this is actually a picture of one that is inside of Romania that conducts missile defense for the area around Romania. But nevertheless, very interesting to hear that they are setting up a new one of these in Poland, and once again showing that NATO is quietly preparing in the background for further efforts to try and defend NATO from possible Russian attacks and a possible conventional war that could break out with the Russian Federation here on in the near future if things were to continue to devolve on the diplomatic level. At the exact same time, we also got to get a really interesting statement from President Zelensky today out of Washington, D.C., as we were able to hear that apparently he said, and I'm not going to be playing the clip because it has a very interesting statement in it that kind of breaks our no politics rule. But Zelensky said on Orban, for the large part, with all respects to all countries, big and small countries, but we have to understand that not all leaders can make negotiations. You need to have some power for this, which is showing that President Zelensky does understand that there is a power dynamic with different countries that have powers to do things and other countries that don't really have powers to do anything as far as negotiations are concerned. And this is something that we hit home a while ago here on this channel, and a lot of people were kind of butting a little bit because we were saying back in the day that there are several countries that could broker a peace with Ukraine, and it's actually quite a limited number. It would usually either be the Swiss or the Turks, considering the Turkish position in between Russia and Ukraine. And from what we understand, the Swiss have taken a neutral position, but are almost non-neutral, almost being pro-Ukrainian. So they would most likely not be viewed as a viable option for peace talks going on in the future. Nevertheless, Turkey is in a position and has some power, not only over Ukraine, but also Russia, to be able to try and broker a peace for both sides. Both sides would largely trust the Turks, and both sides would be amenable to a solution that would be ironed out with the Turks as far as the war is concerned. That does mean that the Ukrainians do understand that there is a power dynamic, and sometimes Ukraine has a relationship where there is a give and take or they do not. But this once again is showing that Orban is not going to be in position to try and broker any kind of peace within a nation. Hungary is a minor nation. I hate to say that for any Hungarian viewers that are watching, because everyone always wants their nation to be a major world power, but Hungary is not a major world power. Hungary is a smaller country within the area of Central Europe and does not really have a large negotiating position with either the Russians or the Ukrainians to be able to try and broker a peace. They are just simply not in that sort of a position. The Turks, on the other hand, are. They have a fairly significant GDP for the region. They also have a fairly large dealing with both the Russians and the Ukrainians, both strategically and economically, and for that reason, they would be a very suitable partner for a possible peace negotiation. And I do believe, going on into the future, that if we ever see peace talks begin, they most likely will be hosted by Erdogan inside of Turkey, in between both sides. But we will be seeing how that goes on in the future. But a lot of people have also been talking about this arson and sabotage attempts that have been conducted inside of NATO. But sadly, we'll have to get back to that here in just a second, because we're trying to deal with a lot of stuff while we are live on air. But moving on from that into the area of Ternopil, we did get to see that Northrop Grumman has announced that they will be signing an agreement to manufacture weapons inside of Ukraine. And this is going to be the first U.S. company to make this step. According to Northrop Grumman, they said that we will be producing weapons in Ukraine by Ukrainians with the cooperation of a U.S. company. Northrop Grumman is a fairly large manufacturer of military aircraft and military aviation equipment, among many other kinds of technological pieces used by the armed forces. From what we understand, we do not know what kind of a facility or a production site will be made inside of Ukraine, but apparently its entire purpose for existence will be to manufacture and produce equipment for Ukraine so that way it can be transported straight to the Ukrainian armed forces and used by them. This is going to be a pretty big step going forward, as we do expect that Northrop Grumman will probably help Ukraine to improve their at least aerospace abilities, possibly with the F-16, and help them to continue to get an upper hand advantage. Northrop Grumman is a very interesting company, and really quickly, let me show y'all some of the stuff that they can do. Also, really quickly, everyone, because some people may or may not know this, I'm not feeling that hot tonight at all again, and to be quite honest, I'm feeling so not hot. I think I'm actually going to have to start trying to round out this stream a little bit quicker than normal. So we're going to be going through the news a little bit quicker, because I am actually feeling like I am getting legitimately sick. So we're going to keep on going with the news, but nevertheless, here is the Northrop Grumman website. Let's see if we can find out a little bit of what they produce, at least currently. And so here we go. You know, I don't like how any of these defense websites are being laid out these days, because it makes it really hard to look around and find out anything on them. But very interesting website to see, very good to know, and hopefully Enforcer Matt is back. And Enforcer Matt, are you back? Okay, Enforcer Matt is not back. We are going to be continuing on with what we have going on in the news, which moving us over into the area of South Korea, we got to see that South Korea has a new laser weapons system. This was actually tested today, and according to the information that we have, which I'll read to y'all here in a minute, let's check out the video first of the laser system being used. It's a lot like the British and American laser systems of a similar kind that are operated as a form of an air defense platform. But nevertheless, according to the information that we have, South Korean government has unveiled the laser-based anti-aircraft weapon Block 1 for the first time, and it appears to be very similar to the Dragon's Fire laser weapon system of the United Kingdom. It appears that laser-based air defense systems are going to be the future of air defense around the entirety of the world, and it is very interesting to see that kind of evolution in weapons technology. But with that, a lot of people have been talking about NATO says that sabotage, assassination, and arson are being widely carried out by Russia in the West. And a lot of people have been throwing in their thoughts on this. And a lot of people are wondering, is this something that the West is doing to the Russians as well? Or will this be the catalyst for war? What will come out of this? And a lot of people are saying 39% of everyone is saying that this will be a catalyst for war, which is a very interesting input because it's showing that a lot of people think that these kinds of sabotage and arson attempts by the Russian Federation will most likely produce a full-on conflict in between the two sides, as escalation at that moment will be inevitable. At the exact same time, 28% of people are saying that the West is doing the exact same thing to the Russian Federation, and not a lot will be coming out of this because everyone is doing it. Everyone understands that covert operations like this are common at this point in a conflict. Some others are saying that it's bad, but they need more details. And that is something that is very interesting to hear because it is something that might need a little bit more detail, and others are a little bit unsure and undecided. But one thing I would have to say is I believe that this may possibly be a catalyst for war. It is something that we know is currently devolving at the moment. We do see that it's becoming more and more prevalent and more pronounced here in the West, and for that reason we do believe that there probably will be some sort of a catalyst for war coming out of this entire thing. And Enforcer Matt, are you back yet? Okay, Enforcer Matt is not back. Really quickly, everyone, actually, I'm going to address some live chat questions. And I'm going to just move on through the news, and I think this stream is actually going to be rounding out a little bit early tonight. I'm so sorry for that. I don't mean to say that over and over and over, but Enforcer Matt's not feeling that well. He had to leave for a minute. I'm not really feeling that hot either, so I'm going to try and knock this out because we guarantee y'all that every single day we get on to cover the news. But sadly tonight, I think Matthew and me are feeling so rough that it would be really hard to continue on a full-length news stream because we've been kind of degrading in quality over the past few days and feeling worse and worse. But with that, we're now going to be moving on into a couple of super chats, and this one is actually a $20 super chat from Dion. Hey, and he said happy hour time, and I wish it was happy hour time. I don't drink, but I wish I could feel a little bit better than this because I'm not really feeling that hot right now. But still, I thank you so much once again for support, Dion, and helping this channel to keep on running, because while we're not feeling that hot, and I keep on bringing that up over and over and over, and I'm so sorry to bring that up. Just want to make sure that y'all are up to speed with what we're dealing with behind the scenes and, you know, knowing why this is probably going to be ending a little bit quicker than usual tonight, but still, we are massively appreciative of your support, Dion, because if it wasn't for folks like you who found this channel worthwhile to support and helped it to keep on running, we wouldn't be able to make this channel possible, and we wouldn't be able to keep on running this news day in and day out. And so with that, thank you so much once again for the support and helping this channel to keep on running. I hope that does address that incredibly well. And with that, we are on to the next one, which is another $20 super chat from F Russia. And they said LSFA. And I got to say, thank you so much for the support, and thank you for being an absolute member of the Lee Spring Army, and thank you for your first super chat ever tonight. Of course, folks supporting the channel is sometimes few and far in between. We get tens of thousands of viewers on these streams live every single night, but nevertheless, very few actually support the channel and help it to keep on running. No one has to. The entire premise of this channel is that it's completely free to watch, ad-free and sponsor-free in every way, and people can get on here and get the news of what's going on around the world absolutely free. But for the very few people who break that model and break the mold and support this channel, you help it to be possible for tens of thousands of people around the world every single day to get their news here from this channel live. And so with that, thank you so much once again. I hope that does address that incredibly well, F Russia. And with that, we are now on into our last bit of our last super chat, which is from Benjamin Brzezinski. And sadly, I don't have a Google Translate with me at the moment. Let me see if I can try and grab a Google translation of that really quickly. I do thank you so much for the support, Benjamin. And really quickly, let me go and try and throw that, if I can, copy and paste it into Google Translate, Polish to English. And let's see here. If Russia falls and China begins to conquer Russian lands and resources, what will NATO's response be? Welcome to Poland. And thank you so much. Well, love from Poland, most likely. And thank you so much for the support. Benjamin Brzezinski. I hope I'm pronouncing that last name correctly. But still, thank you so much once again for the support. And to answer that question, if Russia falls, China will not be taking over any of their lands. The Chinese are not wanting to conduct any kinds of wars of conquest. If the Russians begin to fall, the Chinese may conduct peacekeeping operations and try and sway the Russian government, the new one that would be formed, to be more positive to Chinese interests. But beyond that, we do not believe that they're going to be conquering any new lands. NATO also would have no response to that, as that would be out of the confines of their territory. And NATO is an entirely defensive alliance seeking to maintain the national sovereignty of its members and not conducting any sort of preemptive or offensive actions outside of the alliance beyond pure defense. And so with that, I hope that does address that well, Benjamin, and thank you so much once again for the support and helping this channel to keep on running. And with that, we're now going to be moving into the Ukrainian frontline news, as we were able to get a good bit of location unknowns. We got to see that some Russian POWs today are being transported off the line on a BMP-1. Check it out. And we see this guy hanging on to the back of the turret as they travel on along, and we can see the Ukrainians here posing as they show off the captured Russians on top of the APC. And we can see the APC continuing to move on along. Enforcer Matt, are you back?
I am back. I'm barely hanging in there, but I am back.
Are you good?
No, I'm not good, to be honest with you, but I'm hanging in there, man. I'm being a trooper tonight.
Man, I'm not feeling that great either. Just to catch you up, we've already gone through an entire super chat segment, a poll segment on the current poll that's up, so I'm going to be taking that down, and we're going to be cutting the stream early tonight because I'm not feeling that great either at all. I'm feeling really bad. Someone asked in the chat a question earlier, Matthew, about a certain kind of a thing that usually happens in houses that is a kind of a fungus maybe, and I was like, that's a very on par question right there. Probably that's the answer to what this is. Oh buddy, that's a great one. Enforcer Matt, can you hear me?
I can hear you now, yes. Luckily, my ears are still working, but nothing else is.
All right. And we got to see right here that the Ukrainians were using a minigun. That is incredibly cool. Isn't that cool, y'all? That is cool. And so moving on from that and into our next bit of news, we also got to see the Russian casualty report as well. And it was pretty high. Ooh! 4 Bobcat skid steers were knocked out.
Bobcats, man. Tremendous to see.
Man, I'm telling you, it's beautiful to see. 1,110 Russian soldiers were wounded and killed over the past 24 hours, along with 17 APCs, 56 supply trucks, 2 main battle tanks, 59 artillery systems, 36 drones, 4 MLRSs, 3 cruise missiles, 3 anti-aircraft warfare systems, and the 4 Bobcat skid steers. All in all, it was an amazing day, incredibly good to see, and the Ukrainian forces are once again inflicting wildly high losses. Moving on from that and into the Vovchansk front, we also got to see the Russians were being targeted by a drone. That's a little too spicy for me to show, so we're going to be moving on to our next clip, where we got to see that several Russian vehicles were destroyed. Check it out. And we can see them hitting the Russian targets right there. And we can see them continuing to hit multiple Russian targets. And that's the end of the clip, but very nice to see the 3rd Brigade making sure to take care of business and knock out Russian forces in the area. Of course, the Vovchansk front is continuing on, as is. The Ukrainians are conducting a counterattack in the area, and moving on from that and into the northeastern direction, we also got to see, while the live chat goes a million miles an hour.
Man, what's going on with that tonight? Like, I'm realizing the live chat's going berserk.
YouTube is shitting the bed while we're trying to run a stream, and I love it. And once again, like we were saying last night, because this is something very interesting, interest. Many of y'all will know that we reached a peak of 7.3 thousand live viewers last night on stream live. YouTube then updated and said that we actually had 8.5 thousand people live at the peak yesterday. And then YouTube didn't report some other stuff in the background today. They said that we didn't have anything at all yesterday as far as views. Or anything for that matter. So YouTube is doing wonderful. We have to love YouTube. It's a great platform. But nevertheless, we got to see that a Russian ATV was getting chased down as well. Check it out. And we can see the ATV getting hit by a cluster round. The ATV is still going on, though. It was barely out of the cluster rounds that landed. And we see something else exploding next to the ATV. It's continuing to truck on. And we can see it continuing on. There's the ATV. It's still trying to move on along. It's under heavy fire. Oh, man, right now, man, YouTube's like servers are going, look, I'm strong, I'm healthy, believe me. Like, it's like, damn, like, pull it together. It's annoying as hell. I'm so sorry for y'all to hear nothing but complaining tonight on our end. We're so sorry about that. But it seems like everything has fallen in tonight. Matthew and me are not feeling well. YouTube isn't working. Everything's falling apart. But we're going to keep covering the news. And we see the ATV still trying to make it through the area. And I think the ATV, nope, the ATV is actually still going. But that's the end of the clip right there, and very interesting to see that Russian ATV somehow made it out of the area. Meanwhile, moving on from that clip, we also got to see that the 14th Brigade destroyed a Tor M1 right there. That is a Tor, a T-O-R M1. We can see that they threw in a meme of Keanu Reeves. Hopefully we do not get copyrighted for that. We can see the Tor firing a missile, actually, which promptly misses. Actually, yep, promptly missed. And so now the Ukrainian drone is going to make sure to pay that back and then some. And we now see that a nice round just landed right on top of that Tor and blew it up. I don't know if we're watching The Matrix or we're watching a Tor M1 get destroyed at this point, but hey, it is what it is. Slow! And nice to see that they were able to destroy a Tor M1. Moving on from that and into our next clip, we also get to see an M101 howitzer from the Ukrainians hitting some Russian forces aside the small area of trees. And this is an older American M101 howitzer that was provided to them by a Baltic state country. We see them firing right there. We see them landing dead on the nail, creating a critical explosion. Boom, baby, boom! Now you see them showing the aftermath as the fire continues to burn in that small little area, showing that M101 was able to hit the target dead on.
I gotta tell you what, my PSA for the night is this. I don't know if it was for certain Chipotle, but I'm telling you what, whatever it is, it's rough, man. I can tell you that for a fact. I have a feeling it might be the Chipotle, but good Lord, man, I'm roughing it over here. I went upstairs to go get Pepto as well, and it was expired. So I was like, oh, great, I'm taking it anyway. I don't care.
Man, I'm telling you what, man, I hate to hear that. I really do. As some bot from Hot Dog Mans came in and said, the enforcers are irrelevant. It's like, I would take that personally if that was the case. It's not. But anyways, moving on from that and down into the area of Vasilivka, we also got to see that the Ukrainians were beating up a Russian headquarters with some hammers, or as I like to say, beating the Russians with some hammers. And hopefully our OBS is still hanging in there. But here's the clip. And boom, boom, baby! They got it. Dang, look at that. You can actually see the hammers coming in right there and hitting the position. And with that, that's the end of the clip right there, but very nice to see. Moving on from that and down into the area of Chasiv Yar, we also get to see the Ukrainian tank saved itself. The commander actually whipped out a fire extinguisher. You better not be lagging. All right, we're not lagging. It's just a slow night for Reddit, too. Hey, it must be a cyber attack or something. That's why I'm going to chalk this all up to. But anyways, here's the clip. We can see the Ukrainian tank right out there. We can actually see it get hit right there by an FPV drone, and the thing is about to catch on fire. And we can see that the tank is on fire, but the commander is out of the turret right now as the tank is still moving. And we can see the commander moving back to the side of the turret where the fire is, and hitting it with a fire extinguisher, taking out the fire and making sure that the T-64 survives. One of the few times we've ever seen anything like this. Usually the crew would abandon the vehicle and allow it to burn down, but this commander decided different. He decided that tank will fight another day, and we got to see that live on film right there. Pretty wild to see. Moving on from that and down towards Toretsk, we also got a view of the shelled city of Toretsk right here on film. And here's the clip. And this is the city of Toretsk, which is close to the area of Orlivka and is currently close to the active battlefield. And we can see here once again the damaged city of Toretsk, just generally showing off the kind of destruction that we see really in any city that's close to the active front line. And with that, that's the end of the clip, but very interesting to see that kind of damage once again hitting the city of Toretsk. Meanwhile, we also got to see a Czech vampire provided to Ukraine firing off MLRS rockets. And without further ado, here's the clip. And we're going to be muting that. I'm sure that is copyrighted. But this Czech-made Vampire MLRS is operated by members of the 110th Mechanized Brigade near Pokrovsk, one of the cities in the Donetsk region. We are holding the enemy off, destroying the enemy to prevent them from advancing towards Pokrovsk, Kramatorsk, and Konstantinivka. Now, according to defenders, the Russians have escalated their attacks in an attempt to breach Ukraine's defensive lines. We work quickly because we want to live. It is a necessity of life. The bridge alone, this brigade alone kills or injures from 50 to 150 Russian soldiers per day. They will pay with blood for each meter of Ukrainian land. It may be a small or big amount of blood, but they will have to pay the price. We will not give up our land for free. Russians were trying to force Ukrainians to spread their lines thin by attacking at various points from the front line simultaneously. They are trying to break through everywhere at different points, in order to split our forces along the whole front line. So they are trying to make gains with the number of people they have. The artillery unit commander mentioned that despite having enough ammunition and weapons, they are experiencing a shortage of manpower. I wish I could be with my family, see how the children are growing up. We see them once again showing off the flowers near to the vampire, and that's the end of the clip. But still, really interesting to see one of those MLRSs operating the area. Meanwhile, near Tenenke, we also get to see that a Russian Tiger armored car was hit, with a very heavily copyrighted music playing in the background. But here's the clip. We can see the Tiger right there. We see it getting hit. Bada boom, baby, bada boom. Thank you, folks, for the concern. I'm hanging in there. Man, Matthew is, in fact, hanging in there. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, we're flatlining. Oh, my God.
Jack, what the hell is happening tonight? YouTube's acting up. We got the lag. We got everything, man. We got the Chipotle hitting hard. I'm telling you what is going on, man?
Man, I'm telling you what. It's just an aggravating night. I'm telling you what. Oh, man. Why? Why does it happen to us? Oh! It's just aggravating me to hell and back. I'm so sorry, everyone. But anyways, here's the remainder of that clip. There's that Tiger burning, even with a cope cage on it. That thing could not survive. And so with that, we're now moving on from that clip and into our next one near the Pervomaiske, where you got to see Russian forces being targeted and hit. And here's the clip. Michael Gustavenson said, tell the enforcer it's the artificial sweetener in his food/drinks. I don't eat anything sweet. That's the thing. I only eat salty foods, and I drink water, milk, and that's it. So it's not anything sweet. I'll promise you that. But we can see right there the FPV drone coming down on that toss. It's about to come down on that hoe. And oh, it's gone. It's gone. Look at that. That is impressive right there. Bada boom. Bada bing. And the game is over for those guys. But moving on from that and down into the southern front, we also got to see a Bodana in service down here. Check out those pictures. Now that is a Bodana and a half. Moving on from that and even further on down, we also got to see a Ukrainian drone hitting Russian forces. And I mean hitting them. Call the police because this is raw abuse. But the thing is that in Ukraine, if you call the police are just going to abuse you even more. Because especially if you're a Russian. And we can see the FPV drones just slamming into target after target. And we can see them just taking out everything they can. Russians, vehicles, you name it, they're getting it. Oh, dead on the nail. Dang, dead on. Oh, and we can see a Russian tank on fire right there. Look at that. Beautiful stuff. And we can see them now going for the next Russian vehicle. It appears to be some kind of a Lada, and they got it.
A whole lot of trouble, I'm telling you what.
Man, dude, I like how you get on air and you say one thing, the first thing you said, 20 minutes, it really sounds like you're dying over there, dude. You're like, man, that's a whole lot of trouble. I'm like, man,
I gotta be careful talking too much, feeling like this. It could go sideways. Man, I just want to let people know I'm alive.
Matthew is spewing facts and he's spewing the food. Like he's spewing the guts. But anyways. Man, I'm just trying to make light of a good situation, well, a bad situation, man. I mean, you know, you got lemons, we make lemonade. You know what I mean? But when you see the MTLB flying in there. Oh, dead on the nail. Oh, dead on the nail. Here goes a couple of Russians wandering around. Oh my goodness. Dang. That came with confetti and everything. Oh, dang. And there goes a couple of more. Are we about to get another? Oh, and another. Dang. They're just getting them. And with that, that's the end of the clip. But nevertheless, good to see. Moving on from that and on into our next clip in the southern front, we also got to see a Hawk air defense system in action.
День у нас по-разному починається, він буває з ночі не закінчується. Це вже залежить від, як обстріли йдуть. Перший раз, як я захопив ціль, ну, було дуже багато адреналіну. Дуже багато, нервничав дуже сильно. Зараз вже звик, то якось не обращаю на це увагу. Саме важче це Х-59 пустили. Там Х-59 і Х-69 були. І вони міняли постійно висоту і йшли якраз в нашу сторону, прямо на нас йшли. Їх 3 штуки було зразу. А тоді було найважче.
Насправді історія цього комплексу починається ще з 1950 року. Його модернізували там 3 рази. Є фаза перша, друга, третя. Ми воюємо на Хук фаза 3. Якщо нам би допомагали наші партнери, то, звісно, було б краще, якщо б нам давали 3-ю фазу.
40 шахідів знищено, 14 ракет, 13 із них Х-59, одна типу калібр. Його взагалі прозвали Ховком, Яструбом. То есть, допустим, якщо захват ракети отраженого сигналу від цілі йде з землі практично. Тобто, якщо вона його захватила, вона прямо на нього летить на отражений сигнал і знищує ціль. Але якщо вона його втрачає, сигнал, вона піднімається вище, полуактивна головка самонаведення опускається вниз і починає рискати, шукати отражені сигнали. Тільки вона його знаходить, вона одразу ниряє вниз і збиває ціль.
Ми тут маємо панель управління, де живлення, перехід в різні режими роботи, комп'ютер, за допомогою якого керується, обробляється інформація, отримана з антени, і яка передається на комп'ютер і з комп'ютера на командний пункт.
Це предшественник, виходить, патріота. Тобто це не начало патріота було. Його спочатку цей комплекс був, потім потихеньку він модернізувався, і вже потім комплекс ще тоді патріот був у них. Це самі перші розробки, виходить, з США. Якщо у нас йдуть самольоти або ракети, вона працює від оператора в BCP. Тобто вони дивляться за цим, ціль дає квар, вона повертається автоматично в тому напрямку, де ця ціль, і захоплює цю ціль. Супроводжує, і коли вже навіть відбувається підрив самої цілі, воно сповіщує, що є підрив самої цілі. Хіпер відповідає за одну ракету, тобто одна ціль, одна ракета.
Зброя колективна, все починається від зборки ракет, від цих пусковів, скільки вони ночі переводять, скільки вони приходять сюди, скільки вони ремонтують. Це титанічна робота, і потім це все вже випливає просто в пуск ракети.
The Hawk is pretty cool. Oh, dang.
Ну все тут робиться.
That guy sounded English.
Dude, yeah, baby. It's just like, I like it. I like it.
Люди, саме головне люди. З людьми ми зробимо все. Без них нічого.
Now with that's the end of the clip. Really cool to see a Hawk system in use. And moving on from that and up to Kyiv, that is actually the end of today's news, because there was no speech today from President Volodymyr Zelensky because simply he's at the NATO summit currently in Washington, D.C., so he was not able to make a small video address today. So we have absolutely no speech from President Volodymyr Zelensky, meaning that in just 1 hour we have covered all of the news and we are moving on into the question segment. There is still a little bit to go. We do have to make sure to address all of the live chats and as many, well, actually all of the super chats and as many live chats as we can. But of course, that is most likely going to be a little bit shortened and a little bit annotated tonight because we're not feeling that well. I'll be entirely honest with many people. If you do want the super chat tonight, we're going to make sure to address all of the super chats that we have. And of course, thank everyone for supporting the channel and helping to keep on running. But considering that we're not feeling that great and our answers may be a little bit shorter or a little bit faster tonight than they normally would be, I would actually highly recommend that y'all come back tomorrow if you want to super chat the channel and just support the channel then. Because I want to make sure that we actually give y'all the time that y'all deserve and the thanks that y'all are owed for supporting the channel and helping to keep on running if y'all decide to. And I don't really want y'all to get shorter answers or for us to be able to spend less time talking to y'all because we feel pretty rough and under the weather for completely different reasons from what I found out. Matthew is completely bad off in a different way than I am, but for some reason we're both bad off today. But nevertheless, we are going to make sure to at least soldier on for the remainder of this stream and then round this thing on out. But we want to make sure to get to the remaining super chats and live chats. So, Matthew, what do we got?
All right, so we have our final poll question to address here. And also, please excuse me if I sound very low. It says here, the U.S. will deploy hypersonic missiles in Germany that can strike Russia, and is it a strategic escalation? 82% said yes, it's a wise move. 6% said no, it's pointless. And 6% said, it's good, but unnecessary. And Enforcer, what say you?
I would say it is a wise strategic move to conduct that sort of an escalation. It is a fair one, so I would say that's pretty on par to me, at least in my opinion. And so with that, I hope that does address that well, and we are now on into the questions. So what do we got, Matthew?
And the first one here is going to go to Purple Gerbil, who puts in a $100 donation and says, get some medical treatment. I hope this helps, and thanks for the perseverance.
Hey, and thank you so much for the support, Purple Gerbil, and thank you for wanting to get us some medical treatment. We do not need medical treatment. I'm fairly certain that we don't. For some reason, lately, I've been feeling a little bit under the weather. I don't know if I have some kind of a lingering sickness or something that I've gotten recently, because it's been like this for a couple of nights. Matthew apparently got a bad batch of Chipotle, from what I'm understanding, and it is doing him nasty. Chipotle is like Russian roulette in the food world. Like, you could eat there, and you could give someone that look, and they give you some extra meat, and then you end up, like, nearly dying from eating their food. So, I hate to hear that, but nevertheless, I don't think we'll need any kind of medical. It's spinal, but still, thank you so much for the massive support, Purple Gerbil, and enjoying our perseverance. We try our best. It would be a lot easier for us because, to be quite honest, I wasn't really feeling that hot already before the stream ran tonight. It would be a lot easier to cancel streams and just not run them, but we do want to make sure to get on air and at least cover the news in some way, shape, or form for everyone, because y'all are counting on us to get out here and cover news. And while we may not feel that great sometimes, you know, today certainly we're both under the weather, I want to make sure that we're able to get this out there for all of y'all. But with that, thank you so much once again for the support. I hope that does address that incredibly well, and thank you so much for enjoying our perseverance and making sure that we cover this news every single day of the week, 6 days a week. And so with that, thank you so much once again, and we are on to the next one.
And this one is going to go to Neil Vizanot, who puts in a $20 donation.
Hey!
A huge shout out to Neil for that support as well. That sounds so enthusiastic. Thank you very much, Neil, for that support, though, seriously speaking. He said, take my money and get some rest enforcers, and long live the LSA.
And thank you so much for the support, Neil, and thank you for wanting us to get some rest. Hopefully one day we can. The war is over, but for now we have to try and soldier on through as best we can. So unless if it's the plague, I got the plague last year. Many of y'all may have been around for that, and I actually ended up having to cancel an entire week of streams for that reason. So there's just a whole week where we didn't cover Ukraine war news, which was really bizarre. But I felt incredibly bad and had a fever of 103 for a couple of days. And then what was funny is that I was going to law school at the same time then, during that time, and the law school said, although they told me to stay home and quarantine, that they were not going to excuse any of the absences they told me to take according to their own guidelines, which was really stupid, and then made me start to realize that maybe the legal profession wasn't for me, because people may be a little bit too eggheady in some circumstances like that. And I was like, I'm not really into that all too much. But beyond that, I thank you so much for the support and wanting us to get some rest. Hopefully we will sometime in the near future, but that will be when this war ends. And so with that, thank you so much once again for support. I hope that does address that incredibly well. And thank you once again, Neil Viznon, for being an old guard of this channel and supporting it and helping it to keep on running. And with that, we are on to the next one. And thank you so much once again. Well, actually, we are on to the next one, and this one is a $20 super chat from Gunfox61, who said, keep up the good work, and Enforcer, hopefully your headaches stay away. TGIF tomorrow. Woot! And thank you so much for the support, Gunfox61, and thank you for hoping that my headaches go away eventually. I don't know what's causing them lately. To be entirely honest, what's weird is that they are happening now when I start running a stream. I don't know if it's the amount of coffee that I'm drinking that is starting to give me a headache. I'm not entirely sure. I think those are the things that I can kind of correlate at the moment, is when I'm drinking the massive amounts of coffee I need to be able to run a show at night now I'm getting headaches. So I'm going to have to start working around with that and experimenting with that and seeing if that's the case. But then again, last night I didn't really drink a lot of coffee at all because we had run out, and I still got a really bad headache. So I'm not entirely sure what the headaches are from. But nevertheless, I will be trying to figure that out. We'll be trying to fix the problem because we want to be on here every single day, 6 days a week, running this stream. Many of y'all know that. So many of y'all who have been around for quite some time know, without a doubt, we have been here every single day running 3.5-hour shows pretty much every single day that we've been here. Just looking through, there are literally every single stream that we've run is about 3 hours long, 3 hours and 40 minutes long a piece. And we love doing that. We wouldn't be anywhere else rather than here. And I got to thank you so much once again for support. Hopefully my headache goes away, and hopefully Matthew feels a little bit better. And so with that, thank you so much once again for support. I hope that does address that incredibly well. And with that, we are moving on to a $20 super chat from JMP Traveler, who said, for ginger ale, crackers, and soup, aka the Sick Fun. And hey, thank you so much for the support, JMP Traveler, and helping this channel to keep on running. It is absolutely incredible that you're helping out with the Sick Fun. Hopefully that'll help out Matthew. I don't really think he's in the mood to eat right now, to be entirely honest. But I'm not really either. Matthew just comes in, no. But I'm not really in the mood to eat either right now. I'm feeling pretty rough at the moment, really hot actually. So I think after the stream ends, I'm just going to sit here and try and analyze what's going on and try and figure it out as best I can and figure out what the fix will be. But still, thank you so much once again for support, JMP Traveler. Thank you for the Sick Fund, and thank you for supporting this channel and helping it to keep on running. And with that, we are now moving on to a $20 super chat from Philip Lane Bull, and he said, "Go baby go," and we are going baby go. And I thank you so much for the support and enjoying this channel and helping it to keep on running, because it is folks like you who helped make this thing possible. And of course, we are just massively appreciative of folks like you who enjoy the channel and want us to go baby go, because we are trying our best. And I'm pretty happy that we were able to get on and run a stream at all tonight, considering how rough off we really are. But still, thank you so much once again. I hope that does address that incredibly well, JMP Traveler. And, well, actually, Philip Laneball, so sorry. But still, thank you so much once again for support and helping this channel to keep on running. And we are now moving on to the next one, which is from Davo LBC. Y'all can tell how bad off I'm feeling because I keep on reading the spreadsheet wrong. But Davo LBC said, LSA, hit the like button. That's in order. Hey, you're stealing LSA Sergeant Figment's line. I don't like it. I'm just kidding. I'm perfectly fine with it. Hit the like button if y'all like to. If y'all don't tonight, I completely understand. Tonight's stream has been a bit of a botch job. It's been really short. We're not feeling that great. We're hardly even commentating. But still, if you want to hit the like button, you can. If you don't, that's fair. I completely understand that tonight. But still, hit that like button if you do enjoy the stream. And thank you so much, Davo LBC, for being a big member of the Lee Spring Army and helping this channel to keep on running and supporting it, so that way we can get on every single night and keep these streams running. But still, thank you so much once again. I hope that does address that incredibly well. And with that, we are on to the next one, which is a $10 super chat from John Garner. And John Garner said, I may be broke, but I'll always support. Mama raised me right. And I gotta say, thank you so much for the support, John Garner. And any support is great support. We thank everyone, whether it be $1 or $500, which is the maximum and the minimums that you can put in. We are massively appreciative of folks for supporting it all. Some people can support a lot, some people can't really support a lot, and some people can't support at all. And that's why we're always just so happy and appreciative to have each and every single one of y'all here and enjoying this channel, whether y'all support it or not, because each and every one of y'all is just amazing to have around. The folks who can support, we are massively thankful and appreciative to them. And the folks who can't support, that is A-okay. We're happy with having everyone here, regardless whether you can or can't support. But still, thank you so much once again. I hope that does address that the best I can, John Garner. And with that, we are on to the next one, which is a $10 super chat from Heather Fitzgibbon. And Heather Fitzgibbon said, is there black mold in your basement? Call it a night and take care of yourselves. And yes, there is black mold in our basement. We found that out the other day when an AC ended up overflowing, water went everywhere, and then we found the black mold. So there is black mold in the basement, and a lot of people are going to be setting off the red flags in the chat saying that's a danger to your health. And it is, but we have to keep this stream running. And so even if there is black mold, this stream must run. That is the rule. So we're going to have to try and figure out a way to work with that. I personally am buying a GP5 gas mask, and I'll just be wearing that while we're live on air and also while we're operating down here in this basement. But nevertheless, I thank you so much for the support, Heather Fitzgibbon. And we are going to be calling it a night a little bit early and trying to take care of ourselves. But still, thank you so much once again. I hope that does address that incredibly well. And with that, we're now moving on to the next one, which is a $10 super chat from Rob S. And Rob S said, get some rest. And I got to thank you so much for the support, Rob S., a channel legend and an old guard, much like Heather Fitzgibbon. And we will be trying to get ourselves some rest and trying to, take it easy and get ready to run a stream tomorrow. But still, thank you so much once again for the support and helping this channel to keep on running, because it is folks like you who helped make this thing possible and helped to make the stream a reality. And so with that, thank you so much once again. I hope that does address that incredibly well, Rob S. And with that, we are on to the next one, which is a $10 super chat from Chris. And Chris said, how crazy is it that Russian prisoners are treated better in Ukraine by Ukraine than they are by their own country? Strange days. And then Enforcer, we all hope you and Matt are feeling better tomorrow. And Slava Ukraini. And thank you so much for the support, Chris, and helping this channel to keep on running. And it is crazy to think that they are treated a little bit better by the Ukrainians than the Russians. I would have to be entirely honest, from what I've been able to tell, it's not by much, but it's still enough that they are being treated better. And it's really weird to see that because it really weighs in how evil the Russian government and the Russian military really is in the big picture. And thank you so much for wishing that we'll feel well tomorrow. We are trying our best. And thank you so much once again for the support and helping this channel to keep on running, because it is folks like you who help to make this thing possible. And with that, we are now moving on to our next one, which is a $10 super chat from Shady Haze Gaming. And Shady Haze Gaming said, for the ibuprofen fund, I'm sure I speak for everyone when I say thank you guys for pushing through the discomfort to bring us the news. Hope you guys feel better tomorrow, and long live the LSA. And I feel like everyone's giving us get well soon cards, but nevertheless, thank you so much for the support, Shady Haze Gaming, and we will be feeling better tomorrow. It is just a matter of time, and we just have to try and push on through. As someone said today, you just got to keep on going, or something like that. Wasn't that what was said, Matthew? Something like that?
Oh, yeah. You just gotta keep on moving.
Yeah, it sounds like something like that, with that exact same kind of dying energy and everything. But beyond that, I would have to say, thank you so much for the support, Shady Haze Gaming. We're going to keep on trying to keeping on all that stuff, you know. But nevertheless, thank you so much for enjoying us getting the news out. Even if we don't sound that great, even if we're not doing that great, we're more than happy to get it out. And it's always an honor and a pleasure. And so with that, thank you so much once again for the support. I hope that does address that incredibly well, and long live the Lee Spring Army. And with that, we are on to the next one, which is a $10 super chat from John Garner. And John Garner said, we're here for a reason. You complete us. And hey, thank you so much for the kind words, John Garner, in helping this channel to keep on running. That is very nice of you, and I thank you. I thank you greatly for that support. And also, I thank you for saying that we complete y'all, because we try our best to make sure that we can keep a good stream running every single night, and I hope that tonight was a fairly okay one, although I'll admit, by my standards, this is a botched job and it was a terrible stream. But if y'all still enjoyed it, I thank y'all greatly for that. Y'all have got a lot more patience than I'd have, but still, thank you so much once again. I hope that does address that incredibly well. And with that, we are on to another $10 super chat from Tom Exman, who did not throw in a comment, but your support is, of course, incredible, and we thank you once again for helping this channel to keep on running and making it possible, because if it wasn't for folks like you, Tom Exman, we wouldn't be able to be here right now. And so while you didn't throw in a comment, the support says a lot, and I thank you so much once again for helping this channel to keep on running. And with that, we are on to the next $10 super chat, which is from General Ham Sandwich. And General Ham Sandwich said, just feel better, guys. Love the news. And I gotta say, thank you so much once again for support, General Ham Sandwich, and we will be trying to feel better. And thank you so much for enjoying our news coverage. We try our best to get this news out each and every day, and I'm happy to know that you are enjoying the news that we put out. And so with that, thank you so much once again. I hope that does address that well. And with that, we are on to the next one, which is an $8 super chat from Margaret Hemsley, who said, I never miss a day. Sometimes I'm lurking. Sometimes I listen after. Life gets in the way of fun. Always hit the like. Please take a live chat question. And thank you so much for the support, Margaret Hemsley. And it is perfectly okay. We understand that you're busy, and I hope that you're having a great time with life and things are doing fairly well. And it's perfectly fine to be a lurker. A lot of people are lurkers, but we're always happy to have check-ins here and there and know that y'all are still watching. Because we do miss y'all when y'all are on the live stream a lot, and then y'all just kind of disappear. But still, thank you so much once again for support, Margaret Hemsley, and helping this channel to keep on running. And to take a live chat, we actually have a live chat from Supernova, who said, thanks for the amazing work. Will U.S. drones help Ukrainian F-16s with target acquisition? Long live the LSA and Slava Ukraini. Really, any drones at all of any type will help with target acquisition. Even the cheap DJI Mavic drones could help out. So theoretically, any kind of drone surveillance will be helping out with the F-16s, having a much higher success rate in their sorties of hitting targets and destroying them effectively. And so with that, I hope that does address that fairly well. And with that, we are on to the next one. Thank you so much once again for sponsoring that live chat, Margaret Hemsley, and helping this channel to keep on running. But with that, we are now going to be moving on into our next super chat, which is actually a $20 super chat from Andy L. And I gotta say, a huge thank you and a huge shout out to you for enjoying this channel and supporting this channel and helping us to keep this thing running. It is amazing to know that you've been here with us for each and every day of an incredibly long time, actually. A channel legend by all means. And I got to thank you so much for supporting this channel and helping to keep on running, because if it wasn't for folks like you, we wouldn't be able to be here right now keeping this thing running. And so with that, thank you so much once again. And with that, we are on to the next super chat, which is a $5 super chat from Carl Vincent. And hey, it's Carl. And he said, hello from Wales. And hello to you from the United States of America. Wales is actually where our family is from. And I got to say, it's really cool to know that we have Welsh viewers in the United Kingdom watching. And I thank you so much once again for support and helping this channel to keep on running all the way from the other side of the world in the United Kingdom. And so with that, thank you so much once again. I hope that does address that incredibly well. And with that, we are on to the next $5 super chat, which is from Invisible Exploration. And Invisible said, bull cares. $5 to eat Qdoba or Moe's instead. And I don't know what Qdoba is. And I think that Matthew is generally out of the realm of wanting to eat shitty food that is in that category. Like, I hate to say that, because I think Matthew can agree Chipotle has done him nasty today. And Moe's is kind of a similar degree of like the customized bowl burrito thing. And I don't...
Damn Chipotle.
I don't know what it... Chipotle... Dude, man, I can't.
Got me so messed up. It's not even funny, man. If that, I have a feeling it is that though. Like I'm sitting here running through my head the whole time, thinking, what could it be? It has to be that because it's running my stomach through the ringer.
Dude, it's always the places like Kava or Chipotle that do this to you, man, because they're prepping the food in there, and some people don't give a damn about food prep, and then they prep the food wrong, and then they give everyone food poisoning for a day. So I would say it is 100% that. I'm glad I didn't get it. I got the more refined eatery compared to Chipotle. I actually got Taco Bell. So I'm not suffering from food poisoning. I'm just suffering from bad food. But beyond that, we're never getting Chipotle or Taco Bell as a sponsor if we're ever taking sponsors in the future, dude. They're like, the hell are these people? But beyond that, thank you so much once again for the support in helping this channel to keep on running. And I sadly would have to say, I do not mean to be rude about this. I'm not eating nothing. Nothing. But still, thank you so much once again for support Invisible Exploration. I hope that does address that well. And thank you so much for supporting this channel and helping it to keep on running. And with that, we are on to MSC Thumped, who's ruined a 5 and said, be healthy and sign off a little early. Your news is the best news. And thank you so much for the support and helping this channel to keep on running. We try our best to make the news good. Today wasn't really that good, I'm not going to lie, but I still thank y'all so much once again for supporting this channel and helping to keep on running, because if it wasn't for folks like y'all, we wouldn't be able to get on here and even give it a shot of putting out news like we did today. And so with that, thank you so much once again for support. I hope that does address that well. And Matthew, I'm just want to make sure this next one isn't a duplicate, right? Because we have the same one in the spreadsheet twice.
It very well could be a duplicate, actually. I think it could be, but you can shout it out just to be safe.
And we're going to give Carl Vincent another shout out, a second shout out for a second $5 super chat. As Carl Vincent said, hi both from Wales. And that is slightly, actually, that is the same as the first one. But still, thank you so much for the support, Carl Vincent, and helping this channel to keep on running, because it is folks like you who help to make this thing possible. And with that, we are on to the next one, which is a $5 super chat from Neil Vizinot, who said, I'm the most medical phobic person alive, and I'm telling you, go to the doctor. And Neil, I'm the most I'm like the most medical phobic person in my life as well. I'm not a big fan of going to the doctor. I'd rather die before I go to a doctor, to be entirely honest. And so thank you so much once again for all the support and helping this channel to keep on running. But I ain't going to no doctor. These medical issues are my own. And so with that, thank you so much once again for support. I hope that does address that well. And with that, we're moving on to a $5 super chat from Agent B7, who said, just here to remind everyone that a couple of days ago, Argentina pledged weapons to Ukraine. And hey, thank you so much for the support, Agent B7. And it's great to hear that Argentina will be providing those super Edendards to Ukraine. Hopefully, that will be helping them out in the long run in the era of war. And so with that, thank you so much once again for support, Agent B7. I hope that does address that incredibly well. And with that, we are now moving on to our next super chat, which is a $5 super chat from Burnaby Alex, who said, Chipotle is a dare for your stomach. And that is so true, Burnaby Alex. That is unbelievably true. That's why I don't eat Chipotle, because I personally have an aversion to people who are being paid close to minimum wage making like prepped food like that. Like that sounds like it would be a little bit judgmental, but considering how many times Matthew has been food poisoned by those kinds of institutions, I generally avoid them. Like if I'm eating anything from a fast food place or from an establishment where the actual chefs are paid close to minimum wage, I want that damn thing cooked well done, and there better not be anything in there that would give me salmonella or E. coli or anything like that. That's why when I eat food, it's like, you know, at that kind of a level, it's always going to be fast food, because while it's not the highest quality tasting food, you know, Chipotle does qualitatively taste better, it's fresher and everything. At the same time, you're guaranteed not to get food poisoning, because many of the fast food chains actually learn something that's kind of common sense. If you're hiring, you know, kind of like lower quality cooks that are working for pretty much minimum wage pay, they're probably not going to give a shit about giving people food poisoning. So just make sure that the way they have to cook it by the book, there's no way anyone can get food poisoning, because it's actually going to be cooked to the point that nothing can poison you. So that's the philosophy I work off of when I eat my foods. And so I hope that does address that fairly well. And so with that, thank you so much once again for support, Burnaby Alex. And with that, we are on to the next $4 super chat, which is from Paul Andrews. And thank you so much once again for support. Did not throw in a comment, but the support is greatly appreciated. And we thank you so much once again for making this channel possible and helping us to keep this thing rolling. And with that, we are on to the next one, which is a $2 super chat from LSA Sergeant Figman, who said, LSA, hit the like button. That's in order. And hey, hit that like button. That is in order. And I got to say, thank you so much once again for support, LSA Sergeant Figment, and helping this channel to keep on running, because if it wasn't for folks like you, we wouldn't be able to make this thing possible. And so with that, thank you so much once again. I hope that does address that incredibly well. And with that, we are on to the next one, which is a $2 super chat from Jason Curling. And Jason said, sorry you're feeling bad. Thanks for still doing the news. And thank you so much for the support, Jason Curling. We try our best to get on here every single night, even if we're not feeling well. I love when some people really appreciate that, like knowing sometimes that we get on air just feeling horrendously, and some people will sit there and go, oh, they're getting inconsistent. It's like I don't know what's up with those people. It's like, please just be blessed that we're even on, because I could have easily decided, because I was feeling like I was going to do this before we even got on air tonight. I was thinking about actually canceling the show because I wasn't really feeling that hot already. So, you know, with that, I thank you so much for appreciating it. I thank you for being a reasonable person and appreciating that we got on air and tried that. But still, thank you so much once again for the support and helping this channel to keep on running, because it is folks like you who helped to make this channel possible. And with that, we are on to a $2 super chat from Carl Patterson. And I got to thank you so much once again for the support. You didn't throw in a comment, but the support means a lot. And I got to thank you once again for helping this channel to keep on running and making it possible, because if it wasn't for folks like you, I wouldn't be able to constantly bring up food, which Matthew just said in the live chat he doesn't want to hear about because he's not a big fan of it right now. And I'd agree. Because I saw you're like, it pains me to see into the soul. And I was like, dang, man, I wasn't even thinking about that. Sorry about that. But anyways, thank you so much once again for support, Carl Patterson, and helping this channel to keep on running. And with that, we are on to our last super chat of tonight, which is from Bruce Lee, who threw in a 2 and said, hello, Alan. Make that fly work for them hot dogs. And I thank you so much for the support, Bruce Lee. Sadly, I don't think tonight Matthew and me are in the condition to be able to do an Alan the Marmot thing. I love doing it, though, and I thank you so much for the support. So we owe y'all an Alan the Marmot for tomorrow. But still, thank you so much once again for support and helping this channel to keep on running. And with that, we are now going to be moving on into our live chat segment. I'm going to be addressing all of the live chats that we have. We have 5 of them currently that we've compiled over the course of the stream. I'm going to be answering all of them just so that we can make sure to address every single live chat that we have. And then we're going to be rounding out tonight's stream way earlier than normal. But I still thank everyone for having patience and sticking with us. I hope everyone understands. Of course, we'll be better tomorrow, hopefully, and able to cover this news just fine. But tonight is a tough night, but nevertheless, we are now moving on into those live chats. But before we do, we got the Morse code decoders, and we had Cliff Simonson, Mark Hodges, Earl Burnett, Paul Schultz, Kevin J, Rumpelstiltskin, and David Millsaps. And the Morse code message tonight was, the Morse code for today reads, Russia is now trying to sabotage war industry and kill those involved with it. We should stop this, LSA. And that's the sound of money, and y'all got that down on the nail. That was the Morse code message of the night, and I got to congratulate y'all for getting that correct. That is absolutely incredible. Y'all get that correct each and every day, and I'm going to congratulate y'all for getting that right on the 869th day of the war. And so with that, I hope that does address that incredibly well. And we actually have another $20 super chat from Miranda Nelson. And hey, thank you so much for the support. And Miranda said, Ukraine will eventually have a number of F-16s. From what we know right now, it's around 80-something. I wonder how many F-16s will be more than they can use. I asked for perspective on the point of diminishing returns. Would 100 be enough? 200? In reality, as long as they are able to train the pilots and have enough ground crews to maintain these aircraft, they could actually support an incredibly large number of them, even into the hundreds. But in reality, currently, I would say that about 150 would be the maximum, because they just simply would not be able to maintain more than that kind of an infrastructure at the moment to be able to keep these F-16s flying. So with that, I hope that does address that well, and thank you so much once again for supporting Miranda Nelson and helping this channel to keep on running, because it is folks like you who helped make this thing possible. And so with that, thank you so much once again. And we are on to the live chats, and we have a live chat from Mad Machine, who said, do you think the orcs will be down to using KV-10s or KV-1s and T-34 soon? They might be. Sadly, they don't even have those. So really the best that they can pull out are the T-54s and the T-55s, because that's really all they have in storage. That is literally the bottom of the barrel. And so with that, I hope that does address that fairly well, Mad Machine. And we are now moving on to the next super chat, which is from Bruce Lee, who threw in a 5. Hey! And Bruce Lee said, no worries. By the way, he's working Subway now, apparently. $3 foot-long dippers, LOL. And thank you so much for the support. Sadly, for some reason, I'm not able to remember what that would be connected to, but I still thank you so much for the support, and I thank you for mentioning Subway. And so with that, thank you so much once again. I hope that does address that well. And with that, we are moving on into our next live chat, which is from G-Real, who said, do you remember the video y'all did in the opening days of the war when that guy got ran over by a Russian tank in his car and was somehow able to survive? He was cut out later. I do remember that, actually. That was a really wild story because we actually got to see the whole thing on film. And it was an absolute miracle because others were not so fortunate that had that happen to them, to put that lightly. But with that, I hope that does address that well. And we are now on to the third to last question of the night, which is from Peace with War. And Peace with War said, what is the possibility of Russian troops to enact a World War I scenario? As far as World War, I would say it's highly likely. They're currently kind of in a trench fighting scenario right now. So I would say it's 100% because it's pretty much already happening at the moment. And so with that, I hope that does address that the best I can. Peace with War. I'm so sorry, Bruce Lee. I just realized that was the hot dog man thing with the marmot and all. But still, thank you for the support, Bruce Lee. I'm so sorry I forgot about that. But with that, we are on to the next one. Well, actually, our second to last question of the night, which is from Chris. And Chris asked, what do you think will be NATO's line in the sand to finally say enough with Putin? I'm not entirely sure. At the moment, it doesn't seem like there is a line in the sand at all. I would say that the line in the sand would be direct assassinations being conducted on people inside of the West, actual Westerners being assassinated. I would say that that would be a massive red line to me, but we don't really know where a red line currently exists right now because we haven't even seen where it's gotten close to being crossed, to be entirely honest. So with that, I hope that addresses that the best I can, Chris. And with that, we are on to the final question of the night. And so who was the lucky last person who threw in the lucky last question of the night? And it was Uncle Sam, who asked, did you read the latest news? Sorry, everyone, about Ukraine rejecting, at this time, the transfer of the Gripen 39 jet. So it was Ukraine, not NATO. Was this a wise move just to rely on the F-16s? Actually, Uncle Sam, from what we understand, NATO actually did pressure Sweden to indefinitely hold the Gripen, and so it was a NATO move. I did not hear about Ukraine refusing Gripens. In fact, it seemed as though they were a big fan of receiving Gripens, but then they were never going to get the chance because Sweden refused and withdrew the offer. So going off of that, I would generally have to say that it's an okay move to rely on F-16s. It's going to streamline the process, or really standardize their Air Force, because instead of having multiple different aircraft, they'll really just have the one main aircraft that they have to maintain and fly, which makes things a lot easier on a logistical end. But as far as a ability end, they may be getting a little bit challenged because the Gripen could do things, at least smaller air sorties, that the F-16 couldn't, meaning that it would end up being a little bit more cost efficient in different scenarios. But with that, I hope that does address that fairly well, and we have reached the end of tonight's stream in an unbelievable hour and 30 minutes, covering the news and doing the question segment all in an hour and a half. And I gotta say that it is an absolute honor and a pleasure to be able to get to cover this news with each and every single one of y'all. We are absolutely honored and humbled to know that so many of y'all come in here every single night looking for the Ukraine war news, and we hope that we were able to deliver the news somewhat well tonight. Of course, if you did enjoy, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hopefully we'll be better off tomorrow, so that way we're not running an extremely short stream. It'll be the kind of long-form stream that y'all are, of course, expecting pretty much every single day. And so with that, thank you all so much once again for watching. Good night, good luck, take care, Slava Ukraini, and long live the Lee Spring Army. The Lee Spring Army will never die.
And good night, folks. Thank you all from the Enforcer Matt side of things, and hopefully we're all feeling better tomorrow, and thank you all for bearing with us tonight. And with that, we'll see you all tomorrow. Slava Ukraine, Yerum Slava, and good night.
Yes.
The Lee Spring Army sends its regards.